Joining us for more on all of this, we have Jim Trusty, former DOJ prosecutor. Jim, thank you for joining us on this early Thanksgiving morning. We greatly appreciate it and appreciate your insights on what is an absolutely horrific day for these two young soldiers and their families from West Virginia. Talk to me, what we've learned so far is that, as prosecutors have put it forth and the investigators have put it forth there on the ground in Washington, that there was a degree of intentionality here, that this individual, the suspect, drove all the way across the country to do what was described by the U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro as an ambush, as a brazen and targeted attack. Your thoughts?
Right. I mean, pre-armed, I think they're going to be able to develop a lot of motive evidence. There is some reporting at this point that he actually shouted Allah Akbar, which is a common moment of terrorism that we faced in this country. So, look, when they get to the point of talking to his friends, loved ones, employers, when they look at his communications through phones and iPads and everything else, you know, I think they'll shore that up. And I would suspect that even if the terrorism component of the motivation isn't fully developed, that this case graduates from the superior court where it is right now to the federal court. And I don't say that lightly because you have to have a federal jurisdictional hook. But these guardsmen, I think, provide it. So I think we'll probably see a shift, whether or not it is a homicide, over to federal court, and they'll continue to develop and parse out over time the evidence of motivation.
Yeah, as you mentioned, right now there are 3 counts: assault with intent to kill. But interestingly, and I think you really kind of hit on this, the FBI director, Kash Patel, talked about this being a coast-to-coast investigation. He also said that this was a broad-based terrorism investigation. But here's Patel. Take a listen.
Also executed multiple search warrants around the country, to include the subject's last known residence, which is in the state of Washington. The search warrant was executed on that house last night or early this morning, and it is an ongoing process. All the individuals found in the house have been interviewed, and some interviews remain ongoing. There's also subject interviews relations conducted in San Diego, pursuant to our ongoing investigation. So, as the judge noted, this is a coast-to-coast investigation being led right here in Washington, D.C.
Jim, your thoughts on the scope of this? We already know 3 states, 3 different cities, and where it could potentially go from here.
Yeah, I mean, if you go historical, you're talking about international components to the investigation, too. I think they're going to do that. I think it's a no-holds-barred kind of approach to get all that information. And, you know, the good news from a law enforcement perspective is generally when you have people that are highly motivated, even if it's a very warped and evil motivation, they tend to talk about it. They want to brag about it. They want to explain how they feel righteous in doing something that is so harmful and so evil. So my expectation is that there will be a lot of information uncovered, maybe conflicting information about what this guy's history is with the U.S. military in Afghanistan. And certainly we know Afghan interpreters, for instance, weren't treated very well in terms of being freed up from the Taliban during the turnover. But look, bottom line is this was a premeditated act. The guy had a cannon of a weapon, a .357. I think it's very dicey to assume that anyone's going to survive the wounds from a gunshot like that. And if I could, Molly, just a quick second, you know, for Thanksgiving, one thing that we're not really talking about is this country just churns out heroes. And we kind of lose track as we focus on the bad guy and on the victims. But think about that. These other National Guardsmen are watching somebody, seeing somebody explode a .357 cannon into their friends. And they don't seek cover. They don't look for help. They don't radio the boss. They run and tackle and subdue and hopefully harm this guy that was doing that. And so at the end of the day, I love seeing that for this country on a Thanksgiving. I know we lose track of it, but we just have people that do the right thing. Everyone from Flight 93 to Minnesota school kids to National Guardsmen that see their friends in trouble.
Yeah. Absolutely. A great point, Jim. And these 2 young soldiers, Sarah Beckstrom and Andrew Wolf, 2 young heroes themselves fighting for their lives right now. Thank you for your insight on this early Thanksgiving morning. We greatly appreciate it.
Sure. Good to see you, Mom.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.